Welcome to the debate. In 2017, Taylor Swift completely wiped her social media accounts clean and, declared the old Taylor dead.
Right.
The famous blackout.
Exactly.
And the question we are exploring today is whether the Reputation album was a raw, necessary psychological survival mechanism against a deeply toxic media landscape. Or, if we're looking at it from your perspective, whether it was the most ruthless, calculated, and lucrative marketing reinvention in pop history.
I think the evidence strongly leans toward the latter, yes?
Well, I represent the artistic perspective here. Because when I look at the cultural landscape of 2016, I don't just see a PR stumble. I see a public execution in the digital town square.
Vicious, sure, but...
We're talking about the Taylor Swift is over party, trending globally. Millions of snake emojis just flooding her feeds, right? And all of it fueled by a selectively edited Snapchat video from Kim Kardashian that deliberately distorted the context around Kanye West's song, Famous.
True, the context was manipulated.
Completely manipulated. Swift was backed into a corner by a social structure that was just eager to crush a successful woman. Reclaiming her narrative wasn't some marketing campaign. It was the only psychological survival mechanism she had left. She had to symbolically let her old self die to purge that toxicity.
I see why you want to frame this as a romantic tragedy. It's a very compelling narrative. And I don't doubt the emotional toll of that PR crisis was real, but we have to look at the mechanics of what actually happened.
The mechanics of her trauma?
The mechanics of her response. The death of her reputation was no retreat to heal her wounds. It was the launch pad for the most lucrative market reinvention in modern pop.
When she initiated that total social media blackout, she wasn't hiding. She was creating a deliberate information vacuum.
An information vacuum, really?
Exactly.
In the attention economy, silence from the most talked-about person on Earth is deafening. By deleting everything, she forced the entire global media apparatus to fixate on her blank pages. She didn't suffer a breakdown. She executed an industrial-scale rebranding.
That is incredibly cynical.
It's factual. She took the exact criticisms leveled against her and converted them into tangible, monetizable assets. It's the classic victim-to-villain pipeline.
I think calling it a victim-to-villain pipeline severely flattens the vulnerability that is actually the core of Reputation. You're looking at it strictly through the lens of corporate strategy.
Because it was a corporate strategy.
It blinds you to the fact that she was stripping away a false persona that the media had forced on her.
A false persona? Katy Perry famously called her a Regina George in sheep's clothing. The media was already painting her as calculated.
Right, and the album was her saying, you want to see calculated? Let me show you what it actually looks like when I stop playing nice. Look at the music video for Look What You Made Me Do.
Oh, I have looked at it closely.
Many saw the tombstone in the opening graveyard scene that says Nils Schulberg. For anyone who might not remember, that was the pseudonym she used when she secretly co-wrote the massive hit This Is What You Came For with her then-boyfriend Calvin Harris.
Yes, to protect his ego, supposedly.
She used it to avoid overshadowing the song. Burying Nils Schulberg wasn't a business strategy. It was a profound artistic declaration that she was done shrinking herself and hiding her immense talent behind fake names to appease others.
Okay, but let's follow your logic here. If the goal was to strictly strip away a false persona, why replace it with a hyper-commercialized, heavily packaged snake aesthetic?
Because she was reclaiming the insult.
If this was purely about artistic liberation, you don't meticulously trademark the very insult used against you to sell $60 hoodies. Look at brands like Juicy Couture or, American Apparel. They died because they failed to reinvent themselves when the cultural tide turned.
She is a human being, not American Apparel.
She is a brand. Swift realized her good girl product lifecycle had ended, so she pivoted. She managed her own product lifecycle flawlessly.
You're reducing a genuinely traumatizing experience into a Harvard Business School case study. Art and commerce aren't mutually exclusive. The Look What You Made Me Do video isn't just a brand presentation. It is a masterpiece of visual semiotics.
Visual semiotics. Let's hear it.
Let's look at the actual imagery. There is a scene where she is lying in a bathtub overflowing with diamonds, and sitting right there on top is a single crisp $1 bill.
Yes, the symbolic dollar.
Exactly. It's a direct reference to her sexual assault countersuit against a radio DJ. She sued him for exactly $1 to make a point that it wasn't about the money, but about the principle of standing up for victims of assault.
Which is commendable, obviously.
But that context had been completely buried by the Kardashian West noise. And she also has a scene robbing a streaming company's vault, leaving the cash behind. That's a clear nod to her open letter demanding fair compensation for all artists from Apple Music and Spotify.
Right.
She even etched "it too brute" into her golden throne, capturing the Shakespearean betrayal she felt from the music industry. That is artistic catharsis. It's her reclaiming her power using deep, personal symbolism.
Look, I'm not denying the symbolism is clever. It's brilliant. But if this was pure, unadulterated artistic catharsis, why gamify the trauma for streaming metrics?
Gamify? How is expressing betrayal gamifying anything?
Because she didn't just tell a story. She built an Easter egg economy.
Oh, come on.
Every single frame of that video was algorithmically optimized. You mentioned the symbols, but what about the 8 backup dancers wearing I Heart TS shirts? That was a highly specific mockery of her heavily ridiculed relationship with Tom Hiddleston.
Yes, she's mocking the media's obsession with it.
Or the scene where she crashes a sports car while holding a Grammy, styled exactly like Katy Perry.
She's holding a mirror up to the absurdity of the tabloids.
She's doing more than that. She is hacking the system. By packing the video with dozens of microscopic, fleeting references, she didn't just invite viewing, she mandated repeated viewing.
She rewarded fans who pay attention.
She forced fans to watch the video on a continuous loop, hitting pause every 3 seconds to decode the imagery. And what was the result? She shattered the 24-hour YouTube viewership record. The algorithm rewards watch time and engagement. By turning her personal drama into a scavenger hunt, she artificially inflated her streaming metrics. You call it visual semiotics, I call it data optimization.
Wait, let me make sure I understand your critique here. Are you suggesting that a top-tier artist carrying the weight of global expectations should release a straightforward, simplistic video just to prove she isn't money-hungry?
I'm suggesting her primary motive was metrics.
Creating dense, decipherable art doesn't invalidate its emotional core. If anything, it respects the intelligence of her audience.
I'm saying we need to be honest about the fact that commercial mechanics steered the ship. And if we really want to talk about ruthless commercial mechanics, we have to talk about the Ticketmaster Taylor Swift Tix program during the Reputation Stadium tour.
Okay, let's talk about it.
This is the ultimate example of weaponizing fan loyalty.
Weaponizing? That system was literally designed to protect fans from ticket scalpers.
It was designed to function like a psychological Skinner box. Let's break down how this verified fan virtual queue actually worked. It utilized gamified tiers. If a fan wanted to ensure they got a good seat, they had to improve their place in line.
To prove they weren't bots.
How did they do that? First, they performed free labor, sharing content, hyping the tour on social media, literally going out into the real world to find and photograph UPS delivery trucks bearing her face.
They were participating in a community event. It built excitement for the tour.
It built a free marketing street team. But here is the truly brutal part. The fastest way to jump the queue was to spend money. Fans quickly realized that buying the album, which cost around $48 for the special edition, gave them a massive boost.
Merchandise bundles are a standard industry practice.
And they were allowed to buy it up to 13 times per account to keep boosting their score.
The number 13 is her lucky number. It's an inside joke with the fandom.
An inside joke that cost fans over $600 just for the privilege of standing in a digital line to buy a $150 concert ticket. The media correctly called it a transparent cash grab.
That's entirely unfair.
It preyed entirely on FOMO, the fear of missing out. It favored wealthy fans who could afford to buy multiple copies of an album they only needed one of, effectively exploiting the very people who had just spent months defending her online.
I think you are deliberately stripping away the industry context of 2017 to make her sound like some sort of cartoon villain.
I'm just reading the mechanics.
You cannot evaluate the verified fan system without acknowledging what it was built to solve. The live music industry was, and honestly still is,
being completely hollowed out by organized scalpers and automated bot networks. Real fans were being shut out in seconds.
Sure.
Only to see those same tickets on StubHub an hour later for a 500% markup. The Ticketmaster system wasn't perfect, but it successfully starved the secondary market. It ensured tickets went to actual human beings.
By extracting that 500% markup directly into her own pockets rather than the scalpers.
But she rewarded that loyalty in ways no other artist on her level has ever done. If she viewed her fans merely as walking ATMs, as you're implying, how do you explain the secret sessions?
Oh, I was hoping you'd bring those up.
She handpicked 500 fans who had defended her during the absolute darkest parts of her cancellation. She invited them into her actual private living rooms in London, Rhode Island, and Nashville.
Yes, she did.
She baked them cookies. She played them the album before anyone else in the world heard it. That isn't a scalable business model. It requires massive personal vulnerability and time. It is undeniable proof of her genuine desire for unmediated intimacy with the people who stayed by her side. A ruthless capitalist doesn't invite strangers into their home.
A ruthless capitalist absolutely invites 500 hand-picked mega fans into their home if it guarantees glowing fan-generated PR to soften the blow of the most aggressive monetization strategy in pop history.
Oh, come on, that is incredibly cynical, even for you.
Let's look at the ledger. Those secret sessions were a brilliant PR buffer. The Reputation Stadium Tour went on to gross $345.6 million.
Because the show was incredible.
It broke the Rolling Stones record for the highest-grossing North American tour, and she did it in roughly half the number of shows. Giving 500 fans some cookies and a listening party is an astronomically cheap investment for the amount of goodwill it bought.
It wasn't an investment. It was a thank you.
It maintained the best friend parasocial illusion perfectly, right at the exact moment her back-end systems were ruthlessly squeezing every possible dime out of the broader fan base. It's the ultimate corporate sleight of hand.
You can reduce her interactions to a ledger all you want, but the music itself defies that level of cynicism. You cannot fake the kind of profound self-awareness present on this record. Let's look at the lyrical depth, specifically the song Getaway Car.
A great pop song, absolutely. But again, highly calculated.
It's a confession. In 2016, she was caught in a massive media storm. When she left Calvin Harris and immediately showed up at the Met Gala with Tom Hiddleston, the tabloids tore her apart. But in Getaway Car, she doesn't play the victim.
She just rewrites the script.
She takes absolute ownership of her flaws. She writes, "The ties were black, the lies were white," explicitly referring to the black tie Met Gala. She admits that she used Hiddleston as a metaphorical getaway car to escape a dying relationship with Harris.
Right, a highly publicized relationship.
She sings "A Circus Ain't a Love Story," acknowledging the chaos she caused, and confesses to leaving Hiddleston at the motel bar.
Yeah, she confesses to the exact narrative the tabloids were already printing.
No, she provides the human context to a sensationalized headline. By admitting she was the bad guy in that specific relationship, she offers a raw, painful confession of a flawed human being who was just trying to escape a bad situation and made collateral damage out of someone else.
It's still a strategy.
That isn't marketing propaganda. Furthermore, if you strip away the loud, angry singles, the true core of the Reputation album is incredibly quiet and tender. Tracks like Delicate and Gorgeous are about finding a real, grounded love with Joe Alwyn amidst the deafening noise of public hatred.
I'm not saying the feelings weren't real at their core.
She asks, in Delicate, "My reputation's never been worse, so you must like me for me." A machine doesn't write that. A wounded person writes that.
I'm not saying a machine wrote it, I'm saying a master tactician wrote it. You call Getaway Car a raw confession, I call it narrative engineering.
Narrative engineering? What does that even mean in the context of songwriting?
It means she understands the media cycle better than the media itself. Tabloids monetize scandal by holding a monopoly on the narrative, right? They find a celebrity's weak point and they exploit it.
Obviously.
So, if you were Taylor Swift and you know the Calvin Harris and Tom Hiddleston timeline looks bad for you, what do? You don't wait for the press to keep weaponizing it. You write an incredibly catchy 1980s-style synth-pop anthem about it.
So writing about her own life is now a PR tactic?
When it's done preemptively, yes. It's a preemptive PR strike set to music.
By confessing to the messy rebound and the betrayal, she essentially bankrupts the tabloid's leverage. She owns the narrative before they can use it against her.
By being honest.
By being brilliant, she takes her own flaws, packages them into a 3-minute radio hit, and maintains absolute control of the product. She's not just bleeding onto a page. She is strategically deploying her vulnerabilities to neutralize threats. Even her apologies are power moves.
I feel like you're missing the forest for the spreadsheets here. Let's say, just for the sake of argument, that every single thing you pointed out is true. The Ticketmaster algorithm, the YouTube optimization, the preemptive PR strikes, and the lyrics. Let's say all of those mechanics were running at maximum efficiency.
They absolutely were.
Even if they were, none of those mechanics would actually resonate with millions of people if there wasn't a bleeding heart at the center of the machine. You cannot algorithm your way into cultural resonance.
You can certainly try.
The music connected with people because the pain of that 2016 cancellation was real. The paranoia, the tears, the feeling of your entire life's work being burned down by a misogynistic media establishment over an edited video, that isn't a script written in a boardroom.
I agree. The catalyst was real.
The fact that she was able to pull herself out of that total darkness, yes, using her incredible business acumen, doesn't negate the art. Her survival is a testament to the resilience of her artistry. You can't use a formula to explain away the sheer human will it took to stand back up.
The pain may have been entirely real. I've never argued she wasn't hurt. But what is truly breathtaking here, what really requires a standing ovation, is that she took that very real, deeply personal devastation, boxed it up, and sold it back to the exact culture that inflicted it upon her.
She survived it.
She took the snake, the ultimate symbol of her supposed demise, and printed it on stadium tour merch that grossed $345 million. She forced the fans who pitied her to fund her resurrection at $48 a pop, up to 13 times over.
It was a rebirth.
It wasn't a spiritual rebirth. It was the ultimate, undisputed triumph of capitalism.